Hey sports fans, are you a crazy football fan? If the answer is yes, then Vegas Sports Nuts invites you to show up and root for your favorite team this Saturday at Murphy's Law on Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway. Join host Jonathan Scott for free drinks, great food, prizes, and a chance to be heard and seen by other Vegas Sports Nuts. If you love the Chargers and hate the Raiders, or love the Bears and hate the Packers, we want you at Murphy's Law. You can sign up and pre-register online at VegasSportsNuts.com and tell us why we should have you on the air. That's Vegas Sports Nuts every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Murphy's Law on Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway. Brought to you by Cadillac of Las Vegas on West Sahara and LVH Hotel and Casino. For more information and to register, go to VegasSportsNuts.com. Vegas Sports Nuts. They're crazy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Scott coming to you live from Murphy's Law on Flamingo and just east of Maryland Parkway with another episode, Week 5 of Vegas Sports Nuts. As usual, our guests are the notorious, the one, the only, the Giants fan, the Moneyline man, Mario Longobardi. Say hello to your team and millions of fans.
Hello, everybody. Another Saturday.
And to my left, the illustrious Jets fan, KJ. Kenny, what do you have to say?
I've never been a Jets fan. You have me confused with somebody else. Week 5 of the end. Let's talk about Week 4 for a second. Mario, I know you got something to say about Week 4, so go ahead.
Well, Week 4, I had a good week. I called both of you up on Thursday, and I said how much I liked the Rams. So that would mean Sunday to Thursday, I was 10-4, which is the second time in 3 weeks I was 10-4. But I sandwiched those weeks with a 4-10. So if the pattern stays consistent, I'll be 4-10 this week.
Once you
but
think of
let's
that
just. Oh yeah, right, here we go, right out of the barn. No warming up or nothing. Anyway, we have 4 teams with byes today. First 4-team bye week we have, and we must talk about the whitewashing in the MetLife Stadium that your Jets embarrassingly took. 34-0 at home. You guys completely quit. You stunk in every phase of the game. Go ahead.
Our kicker did good. He didn't miss any field goals or extra points.
Right.
He was about the best player on the team that day.
Yeah, unfortunately,
If there were a fight, they would have
kicked
stopped
the ball one time.
No, if there were a fight, they would have stopped it. If they wanted the circus to come to town, well, it's going to come to town this weekend. Tebow, the Jets fans are going to be like a pack of hyenas to an antelope carcass this weekend. As soon as Sanchez either throws an interception, gets sacked, fumbles, overthrows a wide open receiver, they want the circus, it's coming because they are going to be screaming for Tebow. Sanchez's psyche is that about of a guy that just lost every dime he had, getting ready to jump off the top of the Bellagio. That's where his psyche is right now, and they're in trouble.
Okay, we're a long way up from talking about Monday night. Any more feedback about last week, Week 4?
Let him go. He said he was going to rep.
You got some more stand out? Anything stand out? I know you were solid on your money line for the Rams.
I was with the Rams, and I love the Vikings too, and they came through on the money line. I thought Peyton Manning had a great rebound game, but you know the Raiders are the tonic for anybody that wants to put up stats and build confidence. I'm looking forward to seeing this week's game. It's a far cry from the Raiders that play the Patriots, but we'll get to that later on. The Giant-Eagle game, terrible mismanagement down the stretch by Kevin Gilbride and the head coach even. I got to lay it on them. They must make sure they're in field goal range. And even before the penalty, it was a 51-yard attempt. And that is no gimme in the NFL. As it turns out, Ramses Barden, who nobody could understand how he was mauling the corner down the field and not going for the ball, had a concussion from 2 plays previous. And that just goes to show you that it was just one of those things. He dropped the ball 2 plays previous that could have put him in definite field goal range, took a good hit, and then he was a little disoriented on that play down the field, and those 10 yards cost him. That field goal missed by a yard and a half, 2 yards.
Well, I felt for you. I was watching it all the way down to the line.
Eagles! The damn Eagles!
I think I called you the last minute. I thought you were having a cardiac arrest.
No, we come to expect somehow something's going to go wrong in that game, and it does, and it did last week. Kenny.
You covered the 2.5. That's all that matters.
True betting man right there. Covered the 2.5.
I think I had the over, which didn't pan out that well.
The over did not.
All right. Well, let's get into week 5 here, starting off with Atlanta Falcons against the Redskins. Falcons -3, over and under 51.5. These over and unders are killing me. When I see 50, I've got to go under, Mario.
Well, this is exactly the scenario of Thursday night. You have a 4-0 team going on the road, playing a team they probably should beat. Now, Atlanta's a better team than the Phoenix Cardinals are, Arizona Cardinals are, but it's the same scenario. You have a savvy veteran coach. Instead of Jeff Fisher, it's Mike Shanahan, and I think that Washington's going to figure out a way to win this game. And I know it's only a half a point, but when it was 2.5, I would have said money line. I do like the Skins here. Kenny, I'm going to throw a name out to you. You tell me who he is. Alfred Morris.
Alfred Morris, the running back from the University of the Florida Atlantic University.
Very
Alice.
good.
Thank you.
There you go. I don't think 3 out of 4 football fans might know who he is. He's averaging 94 yards a game, 376 yards to date, and it's typical of Shanahan. He makes yards out of the running back position from nobody. And I think that's going to be the difference. I think he's going to keep Matt Ryan on the sidelines as long as he can and run the ball.
Roddy White, Julio Jones, Turner, and the middle tier quarterback are salivating looking at game film of the Redskins defense.
You're right.
Salivating.
I'm just saying you have a team, a
You know,
dome
salivating
team on the
is-
road playing on
it's
grass.
like
Here we
drooling.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do believe that Washington will figure out a way to win this
They're
game.
giving up 30 points a game. The Falcons are, like I said, they can't wait to get a shot at this
Well,
defense.
Turner's averaging almost 5 yards a carry. They're very efficient in the red zone. They should have never won last week. I mean, how in the world the Panther secondary, that was just a lapse there by the coaches and otherwise. How that safety's backpedaling and not in a full sprint down the field. No timeouts from the 1-yard line. I can't believe the Falcons pulled that game out.
Yeah, Ryan did a play fake on the 1-yard line,
Yeah.
like he was going to
Play
hand the
action.
ball off. It was going to fall. into that.
63 yards in the air that was. Your boy couldn't deliver that ball, Sanchez. I'm just saying.
He's right, he can't.
He can't. You must be able to get the ball upfield. And it's something we're going to talk about later on the show when we get to Alex Smith. You've got to threaten the other defense, down the field 35, 45 yards. You have to over the course of a year. Otherwise, you're left to a running game, and the Giants were able to grind it out last year. You've got to be able to stretch the field.
So you're taking Falcons,
The
Kenneth?
Falcons and the over.
I like the over. The over.
So you both agree on the over.
Yes. And Roddy White is having easily his best year as a pro. I see a toughness in him this year that he maybe hasn't exhibited before. He's going over the middle, taking the hits, which is good because Julio Jones, must be reading his own headlines, has not had a great year for you guys. Gobs of talent like Des Bryant, but hasn't put up the numbers or the touchdowns.
Well, once again, you're listening to Vegas Sports Nuts coming to you from Murphy's Law. Come on down. We're on Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway. And every Saturday we're here. Free drinks. First 2 drinks are on us, so make it a point to come on down to Murphy's Law. Brought to you by Cadillac of Las Vegas and the LVH Hotel and Casino. Now, I want to read a little bit about the Steelers-Eagles game. Steelers are -3.5 over the Eagles. Matt Yaumans writes in today's RJ, this is a good spot to back Pittsburgh, which is getting healthy and needs to avoid plummeting to 1-3. Trends support backing losing teams off a bye. The Steelers should get a big boost from the returns of safety Troy Polamalu. Is that how you say his name? Polamalu? Linebacker James Harrison and running back Rashard Mendenhall. What do you think about that kind of a trend supporting backing losing teams coming off of a bye?
Well, especially if it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 4-0 off bye weeks with Mike Tomlin as the coach. They also, in those 4 games, have given up 9.8 points on defense in those games. This guy's a stellar coach. I still don't know how we lost that game 2 weeks ago to the Raiders, excuse me. And Roethlisberger has done very well against the NFC East in Pittsburgh, 13 out of 14. They're going to rebound big. Philly could easily be 1-3, easily, and not 3-1. You know, they're the lowest point scoring team in the entire NFL, and I think that Pittsburgh, I think Harrison's going to get to Vic, and I think it's going to make a big difference. I don't see much out of Mendenhall first game back off ACL, but they do need him back eventually.
Steelers have covered the last 8 games after a loss. Tomlin's the great coach. I think they're going to be all pumped up when they're getting all their guys back.
So Steelers,
Vic is going to find a way to blow this game.
Steelers, both of you?
I like the Steelers, yeah, I don't care one way or the other on the over-under. I do like the Steelers.
Kenny, over and under, you got any kind of opinion?
I have no opinion on the over-under. The Eagles are in the top 7 in defense, top 7 in offense, but they have trouble scoring.
All right, let's move on to Packers and Colts. And again, here's Matt Yeoman says, a sputtering Green Bay offense will miss Pro Bowl receiver Greg Jennings. The line has not been protecting quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Packers' running attack is lackluster. Expect the Colts to hang close, and they'll be inspired to play for Coach Chuck Pagano, who last week was diagnosed with leukemia.
Yeah.
How do teams respond to that?
Well, you know, there's always the emotional high and low. Do they come out for their coach, or they have a bit of a hangover? I think the biggest hangover in this game is that I think they're playing against a better opponent here. The Packers are finding their legs. They'll be okay even without Jennings. I look for Cobb to get involved with the offense more. Jordy Nelson can get down the field. And let's face it, this team has won 21 of their last 25 games at the Green Bay Packers. And I see Rodgers really getting going in this game. They're in the worst division in football are the Colts, and you know, they haven't played the competition that the Packers have.
Kenny, anything?
I like the Packers in the spot. Rodgers lit it up against New Orleans last week. He's money in a dome. They're going to score in the 30s easily in this game. And laying 7 on the road is usually pretty dangerous, but in this spot, I like the Packers. I don't see the Colts being able to handle it.
So you both agree they're going to cover?
Right, and this is a coach too, like a Tomlin, that has his team ready to play lesser teams. I don't see there being a big slump. In fact, I say about McCarthy, I think the worst thing that ever happened to Brett Favre was to have Mike Sherman as 6 years for his coach, because Favre just really did whatever he wanted to do during those years. His interception quotient was way off, and it just never seemed like Sherman had firm control of him. There's no question McCarthy has this team well under control.
I mean, isn't that what you find most rock star quarterbacks do anyway, really?
Yeah, I mean, hell, Peyton Manning was his own offensive coordinator. Johnny Unitas was his own offensive coordinator. Joe Montana. Joe Willie Namath with the 2 rickety knees.
And what the hell is going on with Romo?
Boy, didn't you like to see him get his ass?
I finally won a bet. 4 weeks, I found my Bears finally got to hit the money line.
What can I say about the dysfunction of that team? From the top down, they stink, and that coach is a nerd. He is an X's and O's nerd, and he gets out-coached all the time on the sidelines, does Garrett. And the clown of a defensive coordinator, who happens to be the brother of your Amos, part of Amos and Andy crew.
Here he goes to disrespecting a former New York Giant, Jason Garrett. No one can believe
This is the second week in a row. The Giants didn't hire him when they could have. They said no to him. Let's move on.
Let's move on to the Giants. We've got the Giants and the Browns. Giants minus 8.5, over and under 44. This is going to take a little longer than we have this segment, but let's start with your Giants against the Brownies.
Well, we're going to bring Big Warren in for this game. Warren's going to be...
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Warren.
We're going to be a trio to prognosticate this game, so I'll let you start.
Prognosticate, our word for the day. Prognosticate.
First of all, I just have a comment on Kenny's shirt. I'm going to give him a trivia question real quick. He's got a Blue Oyster Cult shirt on, very nice. Established 1972. What was their first name that they used to go under, Kenny?
The Stock Forest Group. And then Soft Light Underbelly.
There you go. Even better. We got to give him a hand.
What was their hit song?
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Don't fear it, baby.
More cowbell.
More cowbell.
Mark, you get on
How we doing on time?
Take everything, right?
It's like
Yeah,
you're a big
that's
guy.
What can I say? What can I
2
say?
minutes.
2 minutes. I think we should take a break right here, and we should come back with this game because everybody's got a lot to say. So let's go to our first break, and we're coming to you again live from Murphy's Law. We're the Vegas Sports Nuts. Jonathan Scott, we're back with Vegas Sports Nuts here at Murphy's Law on Flamingo, Maryland Parkway. This is our second quarter here. Let's talk about Week 5. Let's get into some of us here will consider the game of the week. The New York Giants against the Cleveland Browns. Giants favored minus 8.5 as far as the LVH Superbook with an over and under 44. Mari, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, this is my good friend Warren. He was on last week, and he's a Giant fan extraordinaire with a phenomenal booming voice.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, I say if you need to clear out a resort for a tsunami and you don't have a bullhorn or a PA system,
Or an
just
arena.
have Warren screaming.
Or an arena.
It'll clear out in a hurry. But Warren, I'm going to let you start this game this week. It's not the game. I can't even consider it the game of the week as a Giant fan. But I'll let Warren take over.
I don't know anything about the Browns this year. All I know is this is a trap game of a high order. The Giants, lost to the Browns in a brutal beating after the Super Bowl win that they had in 2008. And you never know what's going to happen in the NFL. So don't take it lightly is all I can say. My buddy Terry O'Hara says that he believes that the Browns have a very good defense. Do you guys have any comments on their defense? Because I don't know where Terry's coming from with that, but...
I mean, they did hang with Baltimore 2 Thursday nights ago. Baltimore doesn't have the most vaunted offense in the league, but this year they are not the Ravens of the turn of the century where it was all defense. In fact, it's just flip-flopped, and I'll get to that when we talk about that game. Cleveland's, we're the worst home favorite giving a touchdown I know of in the entire NFL. Eli comes out sluggish in these games. I would assign a defensive lineman to throw him around the locker room before the game just to get him ready. Have him play second half football in the first half. And that's a segue to a little story. When Bill Parcells was the coach, he actually had Lawrence Taylor the week of the Super Bowl against the Bills on Thursday. It was their last contact practice, but it was a semi-contact. He had Lawrence Taylor take a run at Jumbo Elliott because he didn't think his head was ready for the Bills and Bruce Smith, and that's sometimes an effective way of going about things. I love my quarterback, but I sure wish he came out of the gate like he plays the third and fourth quarter.
Correct.
Kenny, anything to say about this?
You're now 8-14 the last time you played 6 or more.
8-14?
Yeah, because it was 8-13 going into the Buccaneers game, which you were
Right.
fortunate to win. This game, you guys are shaking.
I can't believe 9.5
You guys are
points.
shaking. This is,
We should have beat the Eagles.
you should have beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we gave up 120 yards in the second half and only 2 in the first half.
Yeah,
No, you guys are going to find a way to make this a nail biter.
Oh yeah, I am saying take Cleveland with the points. I can't go against the math and the history. Yeah, I have to say that. I don't care one way or the other about the over/under.
How about the money line that they're just going to beat them?
Cleveland at 8.5. That would be about plus 350. You get 3.5 on your money if the Cleveland beats the Giants. Of course, I'm not suggesting that at all. We will win this game, damn it, because we need to.
It'll pay pretty good.
We need to get back to rushing the ball a little bit, getting Brown on the field. I thought that we got away from Brown last week in the Eagle game, and he had such an impressive game against Carolina. The Giants are loyal to their starters, and it was Bradshaw's turn to come back in the lineup, but they could have melded the two backs a little better last week.
What's Kenny's take?
Kenny, what do you got? Nothing?
I said you guys are going to make this, you're going to find a way to make this close.
So
This
you
is
like Cleveland? Then?
What's your
you
pick?
have to.
You have to.
No, I just like the points. The points is strong in this game. You
Lot of
guys
points.
are going to find a way to make this a nail biter.
I would rather this game
You
be on
guys
the road.
play down to the level of your competition, and you win the games when you're on the road. This is a steak on ice game. You guys are both shaking over there.
I
You
have
guys
two
are
more-
both shaking like Dexter Manley in a spelling bee. Look at it.
Kenny, why must you be so tendentious?
Oh!
Woo!
Why must you be a protagonist?
Oh, and I went to my sensitivity training class again this week, and I'm really working on this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that word was, and I don't really
I don't
care.
think you're allowed to do that in
I just
public.
want to mention one thing as a fan. If you haven't seen the Network's 1995 Cleveland Brown excerpt, see it. Excellent documentary on the last year that the Browns were in Cleveland before coming back. The history of the coaching lineage and who were the Gophers on that team. They ended up becoming GMs at other organizations. Done really well, really well. You should see it. 1995 Browns.
Was that Bernie Kosar?
Well, actually, Bill Belichick ran Kosar out of town and gave the job to Testaverde in '93 when he was head coach. It's hard to believe Belichick couldn't make it, but they were definitely on the verge. They were 4-1 that season when Art Modell said he was moving the team, and then they just tanked. But it's better to watch than to hear it from me. I suggested it.
Yes, it
Outside
is.
of that.
Titans over Vikings. Titans
you, Warren.
plus 5.5.
Thank you, guys.
Warren, thank you. Again, Matt Young says sharp money's on the underdog, so we're going to follow the Titans. Tennessee's not as weak as its public perception. Minnesota is slightly overvalued. Veteran quarterback Matt Hasselbeck gets the start for the Titans, and although he stunk last week, what happened to my voice? He probably gives them a better shot to cover. Kenny, what do you have to say about Titans over Vikings?
Vikings, 2 weeks in a row, get 2 special team touchdowns. They only had 2 field goals, one of which was set up by a questionable pass interference call, but they still won the game against an undisciplined, unfocused Detroit team, so that part doesn't surprise me. This is another one of those games where it's a perfect spot for Tennessee. Perfect spot for Tennessee.
So you're taking the Titans?
Yes. With a veteran quarterback.
Right, well, veteran, yeah, he's back in the saddle. I don't agree with what the person who wrote that column wrote. They are as bad as their record, and they're also terrible against the spread. They're now 1-7 in the last 8 against the spread. We all know Hasselbeck's in for Locker. They have played a tough schedule, though. They have played New England, San Diego, Houston, and Detroit, which should have been a good team this year. So they've played some pretty good competition. Tennessee, Minnesota's a better team than a lot of people are giving credit for. I'm a big Christian Ponder fan, have been on the radio this whole year talking about it. 68% completion. He's gotten the ball to Percy Harvin 30 times this year already. And I think Jared Allen's neck situation's finally to the point where he's healthy enough to get to the quarterback, and Hasselbeck is a statue back there. Jared Allen will have a breakout game with 2 or 3 sacks.
Vikings for you?
Vikings for me, yeah. And no opinion on the over.
Fish versus Bengals. Miami Dolphins, Bengals. Bengals -3 over and under 45. Kenny, what do you have to say?
Miami lost a heartbreaker to the Cardinals last week. They should have beat them. Cincinnati's in a perfect spot. Miami's got to travel again. It's one of my favorite spots of the week is Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Just like the spot they're in.
Yeah, I've been on.
Nobody's talking about them either. That's just one team nobody's doing.
I have. I've been talking about them with you.
You talk about
except for the Baltimore Ravens game, the first game of the year. And they've now won 3 in a row. I like them giving 3 here. Tannehill has 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, completing only 56% of his passes. I do believe that Cincinnati will win this game and by more than a touchdown. So I certainly like Cincinnati in this game. I don't think the lines have caught up. Meaning the betting lines have caught up with Cincinnati's improvement. They are a better team than a lot of people are giving credit for, and they will give some people fits down the road this year. And I like their quarterback too. Another guy, I mean, we talk about all these athletic quarterbacks that run all over the field. Right now, Christian Ponder and Andy Dalton are 2 of the better young quarterbacks in the league. So with that.
Well, you're both in agreement. You're both taking Cincinnati. How about that? 2 guys in agreement here. Baltimore Ravens -6, Kansas City Chiefs. Over and under 46.5. Kenny.
You've got a 1-3 team here. Usually 1-3 home teams are in a real desperate mode. But I can't back Kansas City. This team's dysfunctional. They can't play defense. I don't like their quarterback. Baltimore's just a better team. This is tough. I'll lay the 6 here. I just can't back Kansas City. Even though everything tells you with them being 1-3 at home, their season's pretty much over. If they lose, they're in a desperate situation. But I like Baltimore.
Mario.
I am officially off of the KC wagon. I have been wrong every week, whether it's one way or the other on this team. They're not a good team. They have a very average quarterback with an average arm. They have a coach that inherited the position that is showing us all that he's a better coordinator than a head coach, and that's not such a bad knock. There's a lot of guys that make better coordinators than head coaches.
Bill Arnsparger.
Bill Arnsparger. You can say that about Jack Del Rio. You can say that
No,
about Bill
no,
Arnsparger was a
Giants,
Giant. Yes,
I
he
think.
was, and he was a defensive coordinator for the Dolphins when they won their perfect season. I know. Baltimore. What a flip from 10 years ago where they were all defense. You got Ray Rice 5 yards a carry. You got Torrey Smith averaging 20 yards a catch. You have Joe Flacco having his best start of the year he's ever had.
Bolden's playing good all of a sudden.
And Bolden's playing well. Their 23rd in defense is Baltimore. When did that hasn't been since almost pre-Ray Lewis or his rookie year. So, but I still like Baltimore. Given all that, there's just no way I could think of a reason to take KC.
I like Baltimore. Just a shout out to Jonathan Ogden, who lives here in Las Vegas.
Jonathan Ogden, boy, and what a great draft choice he was. And he was a cornerstone and phenomenal draft choice. He was the first draft choice when they moved the team to Baltimore, was he not? Yeah.
All right, we've got the 1 o'clock games coming up next. So Seattle Seahawks, Carolina Panthers, Panthers -3. What are you talking the over and under on Chiefs and Ravens? Either you guys?
I would take the under, but I'm not strong about it, but I think it's an under game.
Okay.
Okay. No, I'm busy watching Joe Namath against Johnny Unitas, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like the girl that you dated in college and you can't get her out of your mind. I mean, that's how many years ago now? We all know. We have established it's 44 years ago. So you were what, 21?
I gave him a shot.
You were 21 at the time, Kenny?
Yeah.
Can we get back to Blue Oyster Cult?
Confidence in submission.
More cowbells.
More
That was another hit song.
Oh,
That was a big one though.
What, Burning for You?
Burning for
Yeah.
you. I'm burning.
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Right, Casey?
Yeah, that's not even close.
Okay. Seattle Seahawks, Carolina Panthers. Panthers -3, over and under 43.5. Mario.
The Seagulls, huh?
The Sea Fish.
Suddenly there's discussion about Russell Wilson and maybe going to somebody else. They're 28th in offense in both yards and points. They only have 70 points year to date on the board. I still go back to the fact that it is near impossible to play the quarterback position at 5'10". I do think he has a great acumen for the game. I think if Griffith or Newton had his pocket presence, it would be almost a complete quarterback. But I think he suffers from some height deficiency, and you just can't get away from that in the NFL. They've beaten the Packers in Dallas, and they've lost to Arizona and St. Louis. Now, at the beginning of the year, if somebody would have said that to you, you'd be like, no way, how could that happen? But that's been Seattle's 4 games. And then Carolina, how do you, and I alluded to it before, but that was a total mental error. That was, for all intent and purposes, a Hail Mary pass that was completed that started that 4-play circumstance with no timeouts. Steve Smith only has 17 receptions year to date. Olsen has more than him. Anytime a tight end has more receptions than this marquee wide receiver, that raises eyebrows to me in the NFL.
What if it's Mark Bavaro?
Well, Mark Bavaro did 1 year lead the Giants in receptions, you're right, but he was special and the Giants ran the ball well. While Carolina has the running backs, they can't seem to put it together on offense. Mike Martz was the guy that ran Greg Olsen out of town in Chicago, and they got a great tight end there, but I don't like Newton and where he plays. But he will win this game. I think against Seattle, I think you have to be a little mobile, and I think he's pretty much all they got. But I think Steve Smith is getting more and more frustrated as the weeks go on. I like Carolina anyhow because they're playing Seattle on the road. So.
Another cornered 1-3 team at home. Seattle is dreadful on the road. It's a perfect spot for Carolina here.
Mario, I haven't heard a money line bet from you yet.
You know what? There are no great underdogs. We were talking about that at the bar before we came in. There's not a single dog that's getting more than a field goal that you can get excited about. Honestly, that has a legitimate shot.
Well, once again, we're coming to you live from Murphy's Law on Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway. Brought to you by Cadillac of Las Vegas on West Sahara. The new ATS vehicles are in, so if you want to test drive a new Cadillac, now's a great time to do it. Also specials on used vehicles. And brought to you also by Gigi's Cupcakes. So if you want to drive a Cadillac and have a cupcake, also on Flamingo and Maryland Parkway, right next to Target. Best cupcakes in town. Cut out the middleman, just slap them on your rear end. They're great. And also the LVH Hotel and Casino, best odds in town, the Superbook. Biggest sports room in town, and where we have Football Central every Sunday, free to the public, $1 hot dogs, $2 LeBlanc shots, $2 Budweiser. We're in the back room. Make sure to find us and say hello over at Football Central at the LVH Hotel and Casino. We'll be right back after this commercial. Aaron Scott, welcome back to Vegas Sports Nuts, coming to you from Murphy's Law, Flamingo Road, just east of Maryland Parkway. Thanks to our sponsors, Cadillac of Las Vegas, Gigi's Cupcakes, and the LVH Hotel and Casino. We've got another guest with us, Rob Meach. Rob, author of The Last Natural, right here, and sports aficionado. What else do you have to say for yourself?
Not much. My lawyer's not here, so I'm going to shut up.
I know you're a Packers fan, but let's talk about the Bears game first. We got the Bears Jaguars.
The Bears.
The Bears covering.
The Bears.
And guess what I had on Monday night, Mario?
Money line.
The money line.
Yeah.
Money.
Anytime you win a money line bet in Dallas, that's the best of both worlds.
Finally a win after 4 weeks of desperation. Rob, what do you have to say for yourself on Bears Jaguars? Any opinion being a Packers fan?
I'm from Milwaukee. I'm a lifelong Green Bay Packer fan, so all I got to say is go Jaguars. I love that money line.
Well, okay, let's go back to your Packers and talk about Packers and Colts. Packers -6.5 and over and under 48 points. Are they going to put 48 points on the board?
I don't like that number. I think it's too high. I think Green Bay's defense is very suspect, like it was last year. As a fan, I'd love it if the Packers won and blew them out, but with my heart or with my head, I gotta think that if you're going to take the Colts in 6.5, plus I think they got some sympathy this week. I think they're going to play balls over the Colts.
You're taking the Colts?
I would take the points, but I think the Packers will win like a close one.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Now that Mike McCarthy has about the same amount of years as Mike Sherman, 6, what do you think the difference in the two coaches are? Which one do you prefer?
Wow, that's a great question, man. You guys are tough, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about baseball.
Oh, we're well, they get their own
Are
place.
they still playing baseball?
They are.
Is it still going? The Yankees haven't won yet?
I'm here to hijack this to baseball.
All right, let's answer Mario's question. Let's go to Mario's question, and we can talk baseball.
Real quick, I like McCarthy a lot, and I think what we saw in the Seattle game is the fact that he is so rational and so composed. I don't think any other coach reacts that way to that situation. And I think what we saw is just nerves of steel. I think that's nothing but a benefit for that team. And I think they're in for a rocky season with that defense, and it seems like they're jinxed this year. But I think with Rodgers and his weapons he has, hopefully they get to the playoffs. And then, this day and age, all you got to do is get in.
Yeah, ask the Giant fan.
Well, we're the same way. We're the same way. You went to Lambeau twice to win your Super Bowl.
The Packers got in as a wild card too. That year they won the Super Bowl.
Right, exactly. So we know how that goes. So yeah, I like McCarthy a lot, and even more, I like Rodgers over Brett Favre. I was never a Brett Favre fan. Everybody talks about him being a legend and being great. He won 1 Super Bowl.
He was great.
I always saw him as doing so many more dumb things than smart
my
things.
point was, between the two coaches, I think McCarthy would have benefited Favre tremendously. Where Sherman, he was on a very long leash, and he threw too many dumb interceptions, and it didn't seem like there was an accountability. And that was during Favre's prime. His first year was 2000
right.
with the team.
What are you talking about? You were talking about good coordinators versus good coaches. Mike Sherman's a good coordinator.
Yeah, he certainly is. There's a lot of guys like that.
Right.
North Turner, I think, is a great coordinator.
Right.
I think he's a melon of a head coach for the Chargers.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk baseball.
Baseball.
What do you got? Give it to us. What do you got?
Well, I got the book. I got the.
Hold it up.
There you go.
The last natural story of Bryce Harper.
This is the inside story, all the inside stories to the 2010 season when he played at the junior college right here in Henderson for the College of Southern Nevada.
Oh, he was juicing, right?
No,
orange
juice.
Orange.
Grape juice.
Give us some meat. Give us something here.
Well, in the book, we deal with his first stalker situation in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Was it a woman?
It was a Russian brunette.
Yeah.
And so, anyways.
Big Cossack hat, boots.
I gotta tease the audience. It's in there.
It's in there. Okay, a Russian stalker in the book, The Last
Buy the
Natural.
book.
Buy the book, available at Amazon.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was not stalking.
Russian camera woman all of a sudden. Do dialects.
That's not stalking. You kidding me? I'll show you stalking.
It sounded Bulgarian, dude. It's not Russian to me.
This is already the funnest show I've ever been a part of.
Thank you. We like to think we have a fun show here.
All right, who do you like in the American League?
In the American League. No, I'm taking the Nationals to win it all. I'm sticking with. They made a great switch recently and took Tyler Clippard. He's no longer the closer. It's in Drew Storen's hand, much more capable. Everybody on that lineup is capable of doing big things. We got the kid at number 2, and I got a couple treats from Washington, D.C. I made 2 trips there this summer to do business.
Did you see Obama while you were there?
I did not.
Because he called. He's asking about you.
Yeah, he should. He's got bigger things to worry about at this moment.
Yeah, that's for
But
sure.
this is from D.C. and this just shows you how much they love this kid. You can't get this in
Well,
D.C.
tell our video audience
anymore.
who can't see it.
This is a blue T-shirt, and it shows
Welcome to the shoot.
"Welcome to the show."
To the show.
Written in red at top, and then you got a good picture of Bryce slugging away. But here's the big one you guys have all heard about, all read about. This one you cannot get. A fan sent this to me Monday.
What's it say? We're on radio.
That's
a clown question, bro.
That's a great one.
It's the red T-shirt. That's a clown question, bro. These are the hottest things in DC. You cannot get them. Wow. So I wish I had gifts for you guys, but these are mine.
You tease you. All right.
All about the tease.
So you're betting against your Packers.
No, well, I am. I think that's the
Taking
smart
the
play.
points. You like the Nationals to go all the way.
Yep.
What are the odds on that?
6-1.
Not a bad bet.
Yeah, and they play at noon tomorrow on Sunday our time, and so you know what? This kid has had such a magical rookie season. He's probably going to get Rookie of the Year. In the last 5 weeks of the season, nobody has played better than him. And he has secured the NL East Division title for him. They got the best record in the game. I see his magical season continuing, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I envision something like bottom of the ninth, 3-run shot, walk-off, Game 6, World Series against the Yankees to win it all.
It's
something like
a
that.
Magic bat,
something
right?
like
That is
that.
more baseball than I've talked in 10 years.
You didn't say too much.
What is the
You
next
didn't say
game?
too much. You wrote the book up again. The name of the book is The Last Natural by Rob Beach. Available at Amazon.com. Probably have a website too. What's the website?
RobMitch.com.
MIECH.
Yes, sir.
.com.
Thank you.
Let's get back to football.
Go Yankees!
Mario, Bears, Jaguars.
The Bears. Love the Bears. They're my surrogate team, as I've said before.
Thank you.
I loved how they won last week in Dallas. That is just phenomenal. They truly have a couple of guys. They have at least 5, 6 defensive players that are studs. And this kid Wright in the secondary has come around. Briggs looks as good as he ever has. Julius Peppers, Tillman.
Peanuts.
They come from all over the place. I don't agree with Cutler walking away from Tice. I think that's the kind of thing, the little stuff that in the playoff run comes back to bite you on the ass when you need total cohesiveness.
There's children present.
What did I say? Bite you on the ass? Oh, all right.
It's his kid. If he wants to say yes.
I didn't mean to. It's not the worst thing.
Camille, you've heard ass before, right?
Yeah.
Not a bad word.
Jacksonville is last in the NFL in 26th in defense, and I think the Bears, with Forte being another week healthier, are going to roll. I think they're going to continue winning, and I like the Bears.
Devin Hester.
Devin Hester,
mentioned
the
Devin
best,
Hester.
the best return man ever.
The ghost of Walter Payton.
If there's a trap game out there this week, this is the one.
Why?
The line doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
The line does not make sense. That should be 7. If there's a trap game out there, this is the one.
So you're taking the Bears.
No, he's taking the
Taking the Jaguars.
I'll tell you the stat that leaped out at me today when I was preparing for the show. The lead receiver on the Jacksonville Jaguars has 9 receptions. The lead receiver on the team has 9 receptions 4 games into the year.
line 4.5 doesn't make any sense. Especially for what they put Dallas in a dress last week, and they're playing this team in lane 4.5.
I know.
This game does not make any sense.
You're right. They don't just give games away in Vegas.
41 points over and under. Kenny.
Under.
I
Mario.
don't prefer one way or the other here.
You're not big on the over and unders this week.
I have a
You have no money lines and no over and unders.
I like the over-under in Atlanta, Washington. I love the over-under in Buffalo, San Francisco. And I love the over in the San Diego Saint game, but we didn't get to it yet. So
All right.
hang in there.
Standing by. Broncos, Patriots. Patriots minus 6.5. Over and under 52.5. Brady's been letting me down all season on the over and unders. Last year he was going over on every game. Mario.
Well, one of the better playoff games I do remember recently was that Colts Patriot game. I think it was 2006, the year the Colts went on to win the Super Bowl. That was a phenomenal playoff game, and he finally got Brady's monkey off his back, did Manning, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. Manning is coming around. I don't know if he's at 85% just yet. It's hard to put a number on a quarterback when he puts stats up against the Raiders, who I said at the beginning of the year, if you remember week 1, Raiders and Jets would be the 2 worst teams in the AFC. Well, you check in with me at the end of the year. They'll be right there. What I don't like about this game is it's Fox versus Belichick. I think Belichick is a far better coach than John Fox is. I do think that they've gotten the running game going. He said, he made it very clear after losing to the Giants last year in the Super Bowl, he was going to get a running game come hell or high water. Now he has 2 backs that are averaging 5+ yards a carry on average, Bolden and Ridley. They have the #1 offense in the league. No one's even talking about that. You know, people love to knock Tom Brady, and I know Jet fans hate him, and he's a damn good-looking guy, and he's married to Giselle, and he seems to have the world. He is a tough SOB, and
Good-looking guy.
he's a good-looking guy.
He likes him. He goes for it.
What do you do? The whole
He's got
shtick
a
like in Raging Bull?
Y.A. Tittle,
What do you think
man
he's good
crush.
looking?
Y.A. Tittle. Y.A. Tittle.
Ding, 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 ding,
My
ding.
favorite name in football.
Now he has the
The
Tom
#1
Brady man
offense,
crush.
and I know he's the #1 offense in the league, and he's done it without Welker being at full swing yet, and he's done it with new running backs, a couple guys on the offensive line. Matt Light's retired. Guys,
Now, when you say you find him good looking,
what do you mean good looking? That was a great scene. Did you
Yeah,
know
right
Raging
there.
Bull? And then he fights the guy and he breaks his nose in 3 places. And he's so good looking no more. Jake LaMotta said.
you know, my friend Joe Montana just did Raging Bull 2, which I have no idea how they could do Raging Bull 2.
That was the movie, 1980. It was phenomenal. Great movie. Kathy Moriarty as the wife. She was phenomenal in the movie.
Yeah, she was great.
Any other quarterbacks good looking?
So we've gone to baseball, films. What's next here at Vegas Sports Nuts?
I
Kenny.
thought that Joe Montana was a good-looking guy. All right.
Joe Montana is much better.
And the penny
He was a better actor.
Sanchez.
No, you're confusing me with Joe Namath.
So you're taking the Patriots?
No, I'm taking with the points. I do think that well, is it first of all, is it 6.5, 7, or 7.5? What is the
Well,
spread of this game?
Who's better looking, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady?
Belichick.
Tom Brady.
All right, so
Okay.
LVH morning line is 6.5, minus 6.5.
I
on
see
Patriots.
this a 6-7 point game. This could be the push of the day. I'll take the Broncos with the points, but I think it's going to be a push. If
Is
it's
this the
7,
game of the week? Do you think this
well,
is
that
the
is
game
the
of
game of the week. Yeah.
Broncos
That
and
is,
Patriots,
because
game
of
of
the
the week?
bylines.
Jets fan?
Well, it ain't the Jets Texans on Monday night.
Kenny, what do you like, Broncos or Patriots? You're tongue-tied today.
I just can't bet on the good-looking quarterback.
Oh, please.
So you're taking Manning and you're calling him ugly?
The over is the play here. Bet the over. That's
Over 52.5?
That's a 31-28 game.
Yeah.
35-28.
Kenny says over, so just...
And I'm not going to get involved with the looks of the quarterbacks here. We'll let somebody else do
You're beating
that.
that Todd horse tired, I'll tell you that much.
So you're taking the points?
I'm taking the over.
That's
He
it?
doesn't like it.
I'm a mess now that he's talking about the looking quarterbacks here. You can only throw me off.
Well, you can throw it pretty easy.
Isn't that a prerequisite to being a quarterback? They're supposed to be good looking? Can you name an ugly quarterback?
Talk to him. He knows.
Okay, who's the ugliest quarterback?
Ugliest quarterback.
Eli.
Don't say Y.A. Tittle.
No cap.
Eli.
Joe Cap was a mean, yeah, he was kind of a mean looking dude. Plunkett. Very good.
And I've said it
Mark
before.
Rippon.
Harbaugh was a bum.
But speaking of supporting men out there, you guys didn't notice I have my blue ribbon on. I just want to.
What's that for?
It's Pabst.
Well, I support the men's fight against testicular cancer.
Any testicular Bernie. Let's keep it on tap here.
I can't tell you how many fans
This
that
is
I know
sinking
we go
fast.
to October and
Testicular. You can say whatever that other word was, but you can't say testicles. Just say testicles.
Maybe I choked. I
You choked on testicles?
I'll tell you what.
Oh, Jonathan.
We're right back. We gotta take a break now. We're coming in from Murphy's Law on Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway. We'll be right back.
Thanks, John.
Welcome back to Vegas Sports Nuts. I'm your host, Jonathan Scott. We're at Murphy's Law on East Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway, with our guest Mario Longobardi, Kenny Johnson. Let's talk about Bills Niners. Mario, we've got 8 minutes left. Let's go.
What the heck happened in the second half of the Bills game last week? They were up 21-7 and gave up 6 consecutive touchdowns as if they were orange pylons out there to Tom Brady and his offense. I never saw 42 points scored faster than that. They're taking a long trek to the West Coast. This is a good fundamental team who learned a lot by losing to the Vikings 2 weeks ago. They have 2 backs in Gore and Hunter that are both averaging over 4.5 yards a carry. And I think that San Francisco is going to beat up on the Buffalo Bills. This is another claiming horse.
Minus 9.5.
Yeah, yeah. Lay the points, and I love the over.
I can't find anything about the Bills I like in this spot. I mean, the 49ers humiliated the Jets last week. I know there might be a little bit of an overreaction to that, but I can't make a case for them Buffalo at all. I mean, Fitzpatrick,
No.
49ers.
I don't know what they saw last year that they had to sign this guy or whatever they signed him for, $10 million a year. It was like it was four of the teams competing for him, but they weren't.
Any opinion on over and under 44
Over,
and a half?
I love the over. One of the bigger differentials in terms of the math is the over this week in this game.
Okay, let's talk about Chargers and Saints. Again, Matt Yamins says, during the good times, Sean Payton and Drew Brees formed the second best coach-quarterback combination in the NFL. Subtract the coach and add a scandal, and these are the worst of times for the New Orleans Saints. Mario.
Well, Sean Payton's going to be in the building, and that's a odd thing that the commissioner's allowing. And Joe Vitt's going to be up there too. They're going to watch Drew Brees most likely break Johnny Unitas' record of 48 consecutive games with a touchdown pass. They have no defense through the Saints. I love the over in this game. This is one that had the highest differential when you do the math. Even though it's 54, the math works out to 62 points scored in this game. North Turner will lose to the Drew Brees coached Saints this week. Kading is out. If it comes down to a field goal, he doesn't have his kicker, does North Turner. And though the Saints are 0-4, they're a 3-point favorite over North Turner. I think that says volumes about what the lines people think of North Turner playing good teams. And I don't consider them a good team, but they're not a terrible team like their record would say, Saints.
When you get to 0-4, 0-5, 0-6, and you get in that spot, teams cover at a 60% rate. They've got their backs against the wall, and the Chargers are not a good road favorite. The over, I also agree.
Well, they're dogs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say? I'm sorry. No, the Saints, the Chargers have been fortunate with the schedule they played this year. They've been very, very, very fortunate with the schedule that they played this year, and the Saints are got their backs against the wall.
Chargers ranked 28th in total offense. What do you think about that?
Well, they can't run the ball. They don't have a running back. I don't think they have faith in Ryan Matthews' ability to hang on to the ball, and he was a first-round draft choice. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to become of this team. I think they've got to cut the cord with North Turner. He is the same kind of coach in terms of field presence as Jason Garrett at the Cowboys. I just don't see him winning consistently late in the year on the road in the playoffs ever to win a Super Bowl.
You both taking the Chargers?
No, we're taking
No,
the
we're
Saints.
taking
Both taking the Saints to cover?
Yes, coming to 3. Yeah.
Now let's move on to Texans and Jets.
Kenny.
Not every side you take in the NFL needs to make total sense. Jets are getting ripped by everyone, deservedly so, after the 34-0 whipping they took from San Francisco. Yamins is also saying the Mark Sanchez, Tim Tebow talk is out of control. Houston's 4-0, appears almost unbeatable. It's a desperate home dog getting a big number Monday night. What do you say, Kenny?
Come on, Kenny.
Say?
These pregnant pauses are killing me.
Speechless. Get your grandmother's gold teeth, lock your daughter's braces, rob a liquor store if you have to. Get all the money you can. This is going to be just like the 49ers game last week. Like I said earlier, the fans they're a pack of rabid hyenas on an antelope carcass, and as soon as Sanchez screws up, he's done. He's talk about quarterbacks that are in a tough spot mentally. I wouldn't want to be in his spot at all. The top 3 receivers I thought were decent at best. They're all out. Sean Green is not the guy you want to. Tomato.
He is a tomato.
He's not zucchini or squash. He's a tomato.
But he's a good-looking man.
But he's a good looking man.
You said that, not me.
Oh, I don't think he's good looking.
Can we talk about the game?
Is it wrong for a man to love another man?
Swiss cheese defense that is the Jets. 34-0 at home. Embarrassing.
Let him have it, come on.
Your tail between your legs. Like
If
a
it were up,
scalded
I
puppy
would
that
have
just
stopped it. I
wet
said
the
that.
carpet.
They stunk the place up.
They're playing maybe the best team in the NFL right now.
I've been on
with the
Houston.
best running back. You're right, you have been on Houston.
All 4 games, they've covered all 4, and all these professionals are using all these angles and all of that, and the wise guys love Houston in this spot. I'm sorry, I've been a Jets fan for too long, and I've seen this team get in this spot before. I'll be shocked if they play good. They have nobody on offense, nobody. All their 3 receivers are out. Keller's out, Hill's out. Reeves, Andre Johnson's got to be just loving not having.
Reeves in his ear hole.
With no, this is not
Ice
this
hole.
Ear.
This is going to be uglier than Joe Namath in a Rams uniform. I mean,
Yeah.
this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
So the Texans are going to cover.
This is, yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
As-
If I get 10 points, I'll be shocked. If the Jets score 10 points in this game, I'll be shocked.
Houston should kill them. There's a question of motivation and execution whenever you're this much of a prohibitive favorite. I'm going to tell a little anecdote here. It's
Uh-oh.
against the Jets, 1988. The whole season was on the line, New York Giants and Jets. And we let Al Toon get behind us, and we blew our entire season. Gift wrapped in the division for Buddy Ryan, and we ended up out of the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying this is late in the season and Houston's got that much to lose, but you never know going into a other team stadium and they're wounded and what could happen. The Jets were 5-10 when they beat the Giants that year, and they had nothing on the field. They had a Kenny O'Brien offense that didn't scare anybody, in my opinion. So that's what I would kind of do. You have to try to motivate teams when they're this much of a favorite, and the Jets look like a wounded duck.
Well, that's it. That's the wrap up. Thank you, Mario Longobardi, Kenny Johnson, coming to you from Murphy's Law on Flamingo, just east of Maryland Parkway. I want to thank Cadillac of Las Vegas and also the LVH Hotel and Casino. We'll see you out here. Make sure to stop by next Saturday. We're going live next Saturday from Murphy's Law. So if you want to be on the radio, you want to be on the show, go to the website, VegasSportsNuts.com. Thank you to Tommy. Thank you to Casey. Thank you to everybody here at Vegas Sports Net at Murphy's Law. Gigi's Cupcakes. We'll see you next week. Jonathan Scott. Peace out.
Woo!